Hello everybody, Toastbomb here, and I know this is not a Halo video, but it's something that I found really interesting, and I think a lot of you would also find it really interesting as well. And this is actually from a Quake live tournament that just happened recently. Now, the commentators in this video, mainly Duncan Shields. Now, just to let you know, Duncan Shields, he's been around the scene for a really long time. He's seen games, these tournament-focused esports, FPS games, and other various games rise and fall, and he's seen it all, basically. He's been around there since the start, so he's very knowledgeable, and he knows a lot about this stuff. And he has some really interesting perspectives and ideas that I've never thought of before, and I thought you guys might find interesting. So that is what they were talking about in this video, how to keep not only just Quake, the game that's at the tournament and is one of the games, the FPS games, that is struggling and has been over the years, slowly losing its user base and all that stuff, but also FPS as a whole, because pretty much for the last few years, any FPS game in the entire genre has been losing its hold in the esports scene, and it's slowly been taken over by StarCraft and League of Legends and Dota 2, etc. So he's talking about his strategies and ideas to keep FPS in esports as a whole and not just Quake. So I think it's something as a Halo community to look at, and look at these ideas and the things that he's saying, because again, he's very knowledgeable and he's been around for a long time. So without further ado, here's the video.
Do you have any... Okay, so Quake, you've been around for a really long time.
Okay, where's this going?
You've been around for a really long time. You're around since the Quake World days, or rather probably NetQuake days, probably, I guess.
Just Quake, yeah.
Just Quake, 96, everything started. You've basically seen esports develop from just the very start. And FPS has been losing its place gradually in esports. And it's not looking like that's going to change. It seems like that's just what's slowly happening, just slowly losing grip. So we're probably losing Quake. CS is is trying really hard.
It's not really working out, is it?
But what is the future you see for FPS and esports, or is there one?
Here's the problem, okay? Esports as a term is what has killed Quake, okay? I'll explain what I mean. If you talk about esports history now, you're going to include Quake in this. So Quake, Quake 2, Quake 3.
Oh, yeah.
But what you're not realizing was esports didn't exist then. It was just Quake. What happened was people really loved Quake. It was an awesome game. People liked to watch Quake, so they put on Quake tournaments. Then it started to get more people watching and more LANs happening. So people got sponsors to sponsor the LANs. And shall I continue this point?
Yeah, you might.
Yeah, okay. So I'll just continue it for a little while unless this game gets interesting. So basically, the point being that everything was just based around what an awesome game Quake was. So all that was required was that Quake remain an awesome game. And so the sequels, okay, it's debatable how good they were, but some people liked them, okay, so it still existed.
Yeah.
But then esports itself started to include other games. So Counter-Strike came in, then you got other games, Warcraft 3, whatever. And then esports became sort of a separate term that now Quake was just a part of. And so the key thing is, now Quake could be dropped from the equation and esports itself could continue on. And so esports sort of took on a life of its own and then just became about which is the most popular game, which is the game that can get the most viewers, which can, can get the most money. So there is a way that you can make Quake a big game again, okay? But it has to work like this. Companies have to be set up where they're going to show Quake or games like Quake, but they're only going to show those tournaments. That's the first rule. We're only a Quake company, okay? So now we get sponsors. So if we can get enough people to watch, now we can get some sponsors. Now we can have some tournaments. Basically, you have to sort of reset the history of Quake and start over again. The same reason, okay? If the game's valid enough people will watch it and are interested in it, and you can get sponsored just for that, then you can build it up the same way that esports is built. The problem is, everyone before did that, but then they got a moment where they realized, you know what, I could actually get more viewers for my league if I switched to Counter-Strike. I could get more if I switched to StarCraft 2. I could get more if I switched to League of Legends. So you need someone who wouldn't take that easy way out, okay? I'll give you an example, okay? There used to be a team in Counter-Strike in the UK called Four Kings.
Yeah.
The reason they dominated the whole UK scene wasn't that they were much better and they had lots of skill. They were other talented players, but what they would do is every time a talented player came along who they hadn't had in their team before, they would recruit him from the team he was in and kill that team. Well, basically, there was a second best team created out of a lot of the cast-offs who had the talent to be in Four Kings, but they weren't at the time. And their premise when they made the team was we'll all agree, called Infinity Esports.
Oh, yeah,
this was a later version, okay, that had some of the old players in. And they agreed, okay, the deal is we're all going to make this team, and we all agree if one of us gets an offer to join Four Kings, we will not do it. Well, what happened was, when the World Cyber Games qualifier was coming in the UK, one of them just got an offer. Just come and join 4Kings, you can play with us at the tournament. You won't be in the team, but you can play at the tournament with us. So he left, and he broke the team up. So again, you see the problem. You need people in place
what a scumbag.
who can build the game up like this. But then the idea is they won't then take the quick buck and just switch to League of Legends to get more viewers.
Yeah.
Now, listen, if it turns out that doing this method, people won't watch Quake like they used to do, and there won't be as many Quake on that were awesome as before. Okay, well, that's not a big deal to me, because that says that the game maybe isn't good enough anymore. So I'm not worried about like it has to succeed, but I think that's the way it would succeed, you know. You have to sort of retrace the same steps, but not make the mistakes that would lead you away from having awesome. Because I actually think it's a key flaw in esports that they've abandoned all the really good games. Because now you end up with a scenario where I follow StarCraft 2 and I follow League of Legends professionally for my job. And it's so rare, even amongst people who love those games, that you have really amazing games. You have them every now and then, you have good games otherwise, right?
Yeah.
But I've seen so many tournaments, almost every time Rafa and Kula have ever played in Quake Live, it's been incredible. It's been some of the best games I've ever seen. And like in those moments, I can almost not even believe what I'm seeing. It's so, like the personalities and like the magnetic quality of their play is so like electric. That even when you're watching it, it's like amazing to watch. Whereas some of these other games, they need everything to go right for it to be that sort of exceptional game. It comes along quite rare. And so I think that actually esports has kind of screwed itself because it's lost a bit of the magic there. I think a better way to do it would have been have some of the games be there to get the numbers, and then have the odd game like a Quake or a Counter-Strike or something that you have sort of on the side as like this is to represent the magical element of esports, but we sort of fund it using the parts that can get the numbers and get the sponsors in, like to balance it out a bit. Because in Hollywood, I'll give you an example. In Hollywood, people make movies. There's a famous example of a guy called Steven Soderbergh's a director. And the way he makes movies, he's even said this in interviews, is he does a Hollywood movie, like Ocean's 11 or something, that he doesn't think is particularly artistic. He does it for the studio because it's going to make him $200 million. And then he says to them, okay, since I did that movie, now I want to do like a passion project. It's probably not going to make a lot of money. You know, I'm going to put an actor I like in it. It's something I've had in mind for a while. They'll let him do that because they make $200 million, they lose maybe $10 million on his film. Well, they've made $190 million there. So he does that method over and over. That's what I think esports should do. Because I'll even give you an esports example of how this works. At these tournaments they have in Dota 2 and StarCraft, no, not StarCraft, Dota 2 and CS, they have these Star Ladder tournaments in Kiev. And the finals are always at this LAN in Kiev, okay? But they host the finals so that the Dota 2 final takes place after the CSGO final. That means that the CSGO final every time has like 40k viewers. But you can't get 40k viewers for CS. But you can if you tell people there's Dota 2 coming on afterwards. Then people watch it and they're like, hey, this isn't bad actually. I'll probably watch next event as well. So you see the way that you can actually use the success of one game to give to the other. It's almost like a Robin Hood effect.
That's don't DreamHack try to do stuff like that.
They used to do the same thing as well, But unfortunately, a lot of tournaments have actually gone away from that model even. Now they try to show every game of a tournament on separate streams. So again, you're sort of isolating people a bit there. Whereas I remember the same thing happened to IEM when they used to show the finals one after the other. The Quake final when Kula beat Avec in the European one got loads of viewers because people were waiting for League of Legends. They were waiting for, I don't know if League of Legends was that one. They were waiting for StarCraft 2 or Counter-Strike or something, you know. It's the same principle. But the problem is these are really like philosophical principles, and people have moved away from it because again they just want to get the big League of Legends numbers, and you can see where the departure is from how I think and how the people who get to actually choose these things think. It's quite different now.
It's actually a really interesting idea. I guess stuff like that would be much more feasible when because still the infrastructure in esports is really flimsy. Like, I mean, like you're making the point that journalists don't even really get this. If you want to be an esports, sorry, if any aspiring esports journalists out there watching the stream, you probably won't be making much money, if anything, from doing it. Like, and I mean, that's like one of the key things in a successful industry is the quality of the coverage. And if you don't even have journalists that are even very well paid, how can I think it's very telling. And quite clearly the infrastructure is not there, but perhaps when it does get there, maybe something like that will come along. I don't know. It's quite difficult.
I mean, when I think of it like this, okay. I don't understand why tournaments will not host a Quake tournament by virtue of the fact that they think to themselves, okay, better to use like League of Legends or StarCraft 2 for this money or this space in the tournament, okay? Because the thing is, if Quake had its own circuit, sure, it will never have 100k people watching. But if it had a solid circuit where every tournament was Rafa, Cypher, Kula, Avec, all attending the tournament, Evil, all these guys attend, then it could have a solid 20k every single time. Now that can still be sold to a sponsor. The reason I know it can is because guess what? Games used to only get 20k at most, and we had sponsors back then. Now, obviously, some of the sponsors are only going to be in League of Legends stuff for the numbers, but you will be able to get some sponsors. Maybe you can use a budget sponsor who's not as big, they haven't got as much money, but you can go, okay, if you've got a lot of money, we bring you in for the League of Legends game. If you don't, then how about you sponsor this Quake tournament instead? That's like our cheaper option on our sponsor package that we have. So I think there is a way to balance it all out so that it makes sense money-wise. You're not just giving up all the viewers and the money to do this tournament, but it has its own place as well. Because I think with games like these, like I say, because they're so exciting, it's worth going out your way to try and get them into the tournament. It's not that you're only getting them in the tournament because of the numbers like with the other games.
Yep.
I mean, what do you think? How could FPS ever have a place again? Because I'm trying to find a place where it could realistically work, not like everyone tomorrow switches to Quake, you know?
Yeah, no, it's I don't know, it's really interesting because you can come at it from multiple perspectives. I mean, the perspective you came at it from, I think, was actually a very nice option, potentially. But the other one is that can you make FPS as friendly and enjoyable and casually entertaining as a game like League of Legends? Because that's clearly where the success is there. It's like the accessibility of the game. It's so high level. So I mean, if the question is to me, is that possible with FPS? Because I don't actually know if it is or not.
I mean, I have another idea. I can go along those lines if you're finished on that point.
Yeah, okay. Sure, go for it.
So I actually had another idea, which I've suggested for every game I've been involved with the community for, and it's never been done. It's okay. Which is that you have a pro mode in the game, but it's built into the game. Yeah. And my idea of how it is on a game like League of Legends, okay, the way the game works is when you play it in the public mode, you sort of rank. And if you're doing well, you're getting pushed up higher into higher divisions. And if you're losing, you're getting put down to lower divisions.
Yep.
So my idea is these divisions would not only represent your ranking, but the levels of the game you have access to. I don't mean levels as in actual maps. I mean levels of like difficulty and complexity and mechanics that are available in the game.
Do they have that in League of Legends? Like you can't use certain things if you...
No.
Okay.
So my idea is that as you went up, so as you got to the top levels, then it would add in things that were more mechanically different or things that were more skillful to the game. Well, in a Quake sense, I'd put it like this. People need to start on a really easy, fun version of Quake, because playing FFA isn't fun in Quake, even for good players. So you have to design a version of Quake that's fun in free-for-all to get people to want to play Quake, then make tiers so that like once you get to the top, it's real Quake like this. But between then, maybe it's a version of Quake where there's not as much armor or the weapons stay on, or I don't know what you do, but you can figure out some things that would be more fun. And the idea is as you get higher, you take a bit of the fun out, but put some of the skill in. Because at the moment, it's all or nothing. You have to either go totally hardcore into Quake, or you can't get into Quake. You can play a game like League of Legends.
Yep.
So there has to be some middle ground. And I don't think it's that extreme an example, because my idea as well with the tiering is that it would almost be intuitive in the game. You wouldn't even be telling people now you're accessing the new version. They'd find out, oh, these guys are much better, here's why. Now I'm in the game, I can realize.
Yeah, no, I think that's really the thing, accessibility. Like you need a casual market. I mean, the other thing as well is like once you have that accessibility and you have the marketing there, you need to be able to monetize the project somehow so it becomes sustainable. So I mean, it's obviously like what Riot did, because then they're getting all this money from their tournament, so they're from their leagues and stuff like that, and the fact that there's so many players who are all going for all the microtransactions for their free-to-play game, then all of a sudden they can host these massive tournaments. But actually, isn't the esports thing kind of like they lose money on it, but it's such good marketing that they continue to...
Well, the thing is, esports actually represents a very small amount of League of Legends.
Yeah.
The numbers who actually watch the esports stuff look incredible compared to other esports, but they're incredibly low for the player base. It's something ludicrously low, like less than 1% or something that watch the actual games, because you get like 100K is nothing when you have 30 million people. Whereas what you realize, that's actually a key flaw that they have compared to Dota 2. Dota 2 has less viewers. So say they had like 60K viewers on a match for League of Legends at 100K. Difference is there isn't millions and millions and millions of people play Dota. A few million maybe do, but it's not the same number. So actually they're doing a much better job of having a viewer base who are interested in esports. So yeah, to Riot, esports is just marketing. It's just a way of showing another aspect of the game, you know. So to them, it's not even a big deal to blow all this money, which is also a reason why it's a bit unfair to consider that esports in the same sense that you do other esports. Because like I was describing with Quake, that's all predicated on the fact that Quake's a good game. People want to watch it because it's a good game. They're willing to go to tournaments. They're willing to pay for money and all this stuff. That's where the industry's built up. Whereas a lot of the League of Legends stuff is using the vehicle of that industry, but then just saying, okay, I'm going to give you $1 million as the prize pool. Okay, well, what return do I have to? Oh, nothing. That's just $1 million. Well, if you could do that in every game, you could make loads of games in esports. Not as big, but you see what I mean? It's sort of being propped up to a degree. It's not actually living off its own value.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like they've gone, such an awesome game with so many viewers, we've got a sponsor to give us $1 million. No, they're paying that aspect. So at the moment, it might look like there's no hope for any other game, but really,
Dota 2
they can't just pump the money in forever, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they do seem to have something that's much more sustainable from the fact that, like you said, people are actually interested in. Because, like you said, how many players are registered?
Well, that was something that actually Counter-Strike had going for it. In the early end days of Counter-Strike, very few people played it, but it could still get 30,000 viewers. Because the difference is, almost everyone in the scene followed the esports side of it. Whereas that's very unlike the modern games, because they're going so casual that most people who play, there's a lot of people in League of Legends don't know esports exists.
Yep.
And some of them even, like that's what's funny is if you ever look at any of Slash's work in StarCraft 2 or any of these games, on his site, GameSpot, it's actually a general game site, and he's just doing stuff in a section called esports.
Which suits him perfectly.
And if you ever read the comments, the comments are just like, almost none of them are positive. They're all like, what is this? These people play games for money. These are losers. Get these guys off this site. And he gets such like abuse in all his comments because even people on his site, they don't follow esports, you know. So it's actually like, if people want to go super casual, we're going to end up in a retarded world like that where there's like, no one's even really following them as much. It's just like flicking on Big Brother or something, you know.
Yeah. And it's great though. I mean, having like Riot doing what they're doing, because a lot of people give League of Legends a lot of crap for just because they think it's a terrible game. And I'm not going to make any comment. I think people can maybe make their mind up what I think about it. But stuff as like, for example, Riot, like figuring out the whole like visa thing for like the athlete visas for pro players. I think that sets an amazing precedent that something like that can actually happen. Because imagine like there were so many tournaments where like Russian players like couldn't get to QuakeCon or whatever. I mean, okay, part of it is the issue with the inherent issue of QuakeCon where like stuff gets announced like a month before, sure.
Well, there's also, unfortunately, the fact that there's like a level of corruption in how you get these things in Russia.
All right, I have no idea about that.
No, as in when you would apply for the visa, you'd apply the same way you always did. And so 4 players apply for them. 2 of them get turned down for no reason. But the problem is when they then reapply, it takes 3 weeks to get the visa. And so they haven't got another 3 weeks, you know. And so that would be the problem. Essentially, like, it's sort of potluck when you apply. I think because maybe you have to pay to get it or something. So, like, by making a certain percentage just not go through for no reason, you have to reapply.
Yeah.
That's a way to get more money. It sounds cynical, but that's apparently how I've heard it works.
Nice.
And we're on the NA stream here, so I can badmouth Russia, corrupt communist ways as much as we need here. There's no one watching.
It's like on the
all Americans.
stream, we're talking about like English words versus American words, and now it's like, now we're getting...
they don't have freedom there, Americans.
Oh, this is dangerous territory. But yeah, so I mean, Riot are doing like a lot of really good things. I mean, to me, it always felt like they would rise up and do a lot of good things to actually help the infrastructure and just develop the whole scene as a whole, and then they would kind of fall away as other people would be like, whoa, you can make, like, you know, huge angel investors would be like, oh my god, you can make loads of crazy money. This seems like a really viable and interesting project all of a sudden, and you get new stuff coming along. So you're not playing anything really at the moment. What do you see you're playing? Like, okay, what do you play? Like,